In a wild turn of events, Red Bull has just confessed that it is the Formula One team at the core of the dispute surrounding a ride height adjustment device, which has sparked FIA action ahead of the US Grand Prix. That is just what they not needed. This could influence the car's performance for the last 6 races. So, just when they needed their car to be fast and are about to deploy their last big upgrade, they've been found cheating and need to make immediate changes to the car. A Red Bull spokesperson has admitted to the BBC that the team was involved, but claims that the gadget was not truly used in a way that would have violated the regulations. Yes, the device exists, although it is inaccessible once the car is fully assembled and ready to run, according to the representative. In the numerous correspondence we have with the FIA, this part came up and we have agreed a plan going forward. However, not everyone is so sure that Red Bull's words are the full truth, and they're now questioning what's really going on beneath the hood of the RB20. Questions surrounding a full investigation are already making rounds in the paddock. Lando Norris, Max Verstappen's championship rival, was asked about the FIA's move during the pre-event news conference for the US Grand Prix on Thursday. It's one thing having it on your car, it's another how much you use it and exploit it, which we have no idea on, Norris elaborated. If it has been helping them, if they have been utilizing it in a way people think they have, then maybe it will shift in our direction, after the FIA intervention. But when you're talking about things like that, they're not going to have got several pole positions or wins just because of such a device. I don't think it would have changed anything in the scheme of things. But when we look at certain qualifyings, and we look at the gap at certain races, when it's been split by hundredths or even thousands, then you might say, okay, it's helped in this or that direction. He hinted that he saw the Red Bull gadget as a separate and more significant issue than the rear wing McLaren agreed to alter after opponents expressed worry about how it was bending around the DRS gap. I think it's good the FIA is doing such a thing. There's a difference between black and white stuff, said Norris in relation to the Red Bull ride height device. And a difference between Formula One and pushing the boundaries, creating new things, and innovating within the space that you're allowed to innovate. That's what we as McLaren have done a very good job in, but we're sure not to go any further than that. Verstappen, on the other hand, downplayed the situation, claiming Red Bull had nothing to hide because the device was identified on the open source component documentation given to the FIA, and repeating the team spokesperson's statement that it was impossible to use once the car was completely assembled. For us, it was just an easy tool when the parts were off. It was easy to adjust, he said. But once the whole car is built together, you can't touch it. However, team are not so sure about that, as according to sources, multiple teams have had conversations with the FIA in recent weeks over worries that one Red Bull may have found a cunning technique to change front bib clearance between qualifying and the race. The ability to raise and lower the bib, even slightly, between qualifying and the race would provide a significant advantage in terms of refining the differing ride height requirements between a low-fuel single-lap run and the demands for a heavier car over a race distance. However, according to the other teams, making such an alteration would be a blatant violation of F1's technical regulations, which prohibit changes to the car's aerodynamic shape, with the exception of the front wing, while in park firm. Article 40.2 of F1's technical regulations outlines the components that can be changed, and the only changes in terms of bodywork that are allowed are: the aerodynamic setup of the front wing may be adjusted using the existing parts. No parts may be added, removed, or replaced. According to Article 40.9, a competitor may not modify any part on the car. To guarantee that teams do not have equipment that allow for simple adjustments, the guidelines state that it must be clear from physical inspection that changes cannot be made without the use of tools. The FIA has heard the team's worries about the possibilities of such a gadget and has decided to take measures beginning with this weekend's race in Austin. And the FIA's decision to crack down on a suspected ride height park firm ploy has brought an intriguing wrinkle to the Formula One championship contest. However, while the governing body's response to allegations that one team may have altered front bib clearance between qualifying and the race should put an end to the practice, the problem is unlikely to disappear overnight. Some teams are privately questioning whether the harm has already been done and someone has gotten away with doing something that they feel was plainly illegal. The FIA has also said unequivocally that it has received no indication of any team employing such a system, until Red Bull revealed they were the ones to deploy it. However, views on the subject may be heightened if, following this weekend's United States Grand Prix, there is a dramatic step shift in the pecking order and one or more teams abruptly drop out. In a regulations period when ride height is essential to car performance, and teams have long had to negotiate the trade-offs between setting up a car for qualifying and the race, the option to change the front bib between Saturday and Sunday would be a valuable weapon to aid. If someone has been elevating their bibs for qualifying and then dropping them for the race, removing that advantage immediately should reveal a significant improvement in performance. Modifying the front bib clearance might assist accommodate for the change in car weight between qualifying and the race, since there is a considerable variation in ride height and ride quality between an empty fuel tank for qualifying and one that is full for the race. Having the front bib clearance at the correct height for all cases would provide an instant benefit in terms of being able to take more curb in qualifying, since there would be no risk of harming the floor or plank. It would also guarantee that the aero platform was as optimized as possible, which would have practical benefits such as ensuring that the tyres are in the proper operating window. There might also be assistance in all of this, allowing a team to go considerably closer to the ideal minimum tyre pressures without sacrificing ride quality via suspension settings. If the bib height cannot be changed, as required by the regulations, teams must find the optimum balance between their riding heights and angles for qualifying and racing, going as low as they dare for both low and high fuel without risking destroying the plank. If this weekend produces a scenario in which a team looks to have taken a step back, its rivals will certainly believe that the FIA should look into what has occurred thus far. However, while there would undoubtedly be calls for some form of retroactive action, if it could be proven that someone had been abusing the regulations in this manner, the challenge may be in ever having enough evidence to pursue the case further. It is assumed that all teams have means to alter the front bib clearance height on their cars, as it is a typical setup feature. As a result, the presence of a gadget in a car's cockpit that can modify such settings has no bearing on moving the issue forward. The issue, however, is to determine whether a team changed the settings under park firm conditions between qualifying and the race, which is against the regulations. That is why the FIA is implementing some procedural adjustments, such as the usage of seals on the equipment used by teams to modify the bib clearance to guarantee that these settings stay fixed moving forward. As of now, the FIA says it remains diligent in ensuring teams comply with the regulations, but there may be greater pressure to reassess things further if this weekend's race in Austin throws up some surprises at the front. What do you think? Will the FIA still have to do something about this after the weekend? Will Red Bull receive a penalty, a deduction, or even a ban? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.